The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Jack Markham, Kern Fultz. We're excited. Workshop number 9. This is actually one of our favorite workshops because it's all about influencing consumers' buying and selling timeline by identifying consumer triggers, some of those behaviors, and now what everyone wants to know is, what do I do when I see someone has viewed a home or saved a home? So good morning, Jack. How the heck are you?
Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a great weekend. Hey, it's sunny in Seattle. Obviously, it's supposed to rain the next 10 days, but sunny today, so we're jacked up. We're ready to go.
Jack was watching a little Rocky moments ago, a little YouTube Rocky videos, and I think he was at the gym at 5 a.m. So Jack is definitely all jacked up, ready to go today. So let's talk about what we're going to do today. So here's a quick agenda. Understanding today's consumer. We have to, again, really be experts at understanding the timeline that consumers face. And then once you understand it, how the heck do you influence? Jack is going to mention often, you can't accelerate someone's timeline, but you can influence it, and you don't influence it with a value proposition. You influence it with content that's relevant. Now, we often get what is relevant content at that particular time, so we're going to go through this bullet point and help you understand when it is the right time to provide information based on consumer timeline. Then we'll also provide you with some opportunities to re-engage consumers. So how do you organize your pipeline? So often agents get off track a little bit by not bucketing all of their leads in the correct status. Over time, that's going to get you very frustrated and confused as to who's active and who's not active. So we're going to help you organize your pipeline by utilizing the correct statuses. And then how and when to use the right communication to spark engagement. Is it a text message? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? What does that email look like? What should the subject line look like? Should it be bullet points? What type of content should you have? What frequency should that communication have? We're going to go through all of that. And then probably Jack's favorite part are proven emails that influence consumers. And then obviously throughout we'll have that open forum of Q&A with best practices, and then we'll also give a preview of next week's class, including some of the homework. So Jack, I think what people will be most excited about, especially at the end, is some of our homework, but talk about all those proven emails that we put together.
Yeah, so I mean, I spent a lot of time writing this content, and if it goes, I'm going to make sure everybody has the notebook. If you haven't downloaded this week's notebook, it was ready Friday, so over the weekend. This is how you do it. So this is live on milliondollarpipeline.com. You go to download workshop notebook. It'll come up in PDF, and you can print it out. And it does print out fine. I know I've gotten some feedback that it doesn't print out well, but I printed 2 copies for Kerm and I this morning, and it printed out just fine. There's a ton of content in here this week, so this should be one of the biggest tools probably you've had in a couple of weeks as far as notes to actually go implement. We're actually going to show you how to take these and create these in your system as quick text. But and then obviously I would pay attention to, you know, I put a lot in there where you have to insert the city and certain things, but this is all where you can customize it a little bit, right? But there's a lot of content in here for different points, relevant content, value proposition. I think the key to both of those is really the more relevant content you provide, you're showcasing your value proposition. Does that make sense? So if you take a look at, let's actually take a look at real quick this timeline. And we know, we've seen this a million times. If you're new to Million Dollar Pipeline, then maybe this is the first time you're seeing it. But we know the consumer timeline is broken down into 3 different phases. Phase 1 is pre-research, phase 2 is the active research, and phase 3 is the buying or selling process. Now, communicating with leads during this timeline, right, the right way is going to determine the quality of the leads. Does everybody understand that? There's no such thing as a bad lead. Your response and how you communicate, what you provide, will create the quality, good or bad, of that lead. We own that, right? Us as agents, we own that. And so it's important to understand in the beginning, it's all about relevant content. Understand what those consumers are looking for, what's their motivations, right? And the more times we drive them back to our site, what are we learning? We're learning probably a little bit about their timeline. We're learning about demographics, maybe some of their trigger points. And so the more relevant content, as we're doing that, we're actually showcasing our value proposition. Why? Because we're setting ourselves apart from all of our competition. Instead of just a realtor, it's a neighborhood expert. And here's the thing, is that I know this is the biggest question that Kerm and I get, and we get it a lot. Well, now I got someone coming back to the site. I don't know what to do now. They're coming back, but they still aren't talking to me. I still don't have a phone number. That's okay. Relevant content, you have to understand something. Consumers can do a lot of gathering, right? You think about that pre-research phase, they don't need you to do that. They can go online and do a lot of pre-research without you. So understand that first and be okay with that. When you get into phase 2, which is this active research, okay, this is where that trigger flips a little bit. And I really want all of us to pay attention to this, because this is where you start to flip from relevant content and you start to really focus on value proposition. What I mean by that is they're coming back, they're coming back, they're coming back. Pay attention to those behavior triggers, and I call it digital body language, okay, because so much it was about body language and reading about body language and being sales. Now it's digital body language. Since so many consumers were meeting online for the first time, we have to pay attention to what they're doing. If they're saving houses, how many homes are they looking at? What homes did they look at? How long were on their website? What neighborhoods are they looking at? This is where, instead of just relevant content, this is where you need to provide content that they can't get without a real estate agent. This is where you start to use more of your tools, MLS, the listing agent, right? Title. You start looking at other things that they can't get. If someone has been on my website and they've looked at this house 3, 4, maybe 5 times, at this point, I'm going to know that that's relevant content. I might go to the property and do a walkthrough and do a short video, and that might be my communication to get them moved off the fence, right? To influence them off down the timeline instead of accelerating. So understand, relevant content in pre-research phase, in phase 1, is very different than active research, right? You're providing relevant content to that consumer in phase 1. Phase 2, it's about providing content that they can't get without a real estate agent. And that then influences them to phase 3.
Jack, and then share with us some of the ideas that we had for these emails. So you wrote a lot of these emails, and they all include, and often we get this was a great question from Susan, how do you not scare them away with too much information, but at the same time not enough information? So there's that delicate balance. I think there's a delicate balance when you talk about communication frequency, when's not enough and when's too much. And then the second thing is not having too much content, but not enough content as well.
So everybody has seen the movie Tommy Boy. It's probably one of the funniest sales movies out there. But everyone remember when he's sitting in the diner, and Ellen comes up and he wants wings, and the fryer's closed, and he has that roll, and he's talking about sales, and he squishes the roll, and that's when he ruins the sale. It's the same thing. We get so jacked up when someone's on our website that we want to flood them, or we just want to hold their hand so tight that we scare them off. Look, it's about relevant content. Every time they come back to your site, you don't have to respond, right? Just check in and see what they're doing and look for opportunities. If you have a great opportunity to provide something that you know they can't get without you, then that's where you interject. If it's not the right timing, okay, then you don't have to respond every time they're on the website. Remember, you have two goals really at this point. Number 1 is to be the person that moves them through the timeline. Number 2 is, right, to actually get into a one-on-one conversation, whether it's face-to-face for a buyer's consultation or a listing presentation, right? Those are the 2 end results. But if they're coming back to your website and you see them and they're very active, we don't have to force them into a conversation. You know that they're using your website. It's a matter of time at that point, right? And this is why we focus so much on generating leads, because what happens is if we tend to focus on those little things if we don't have enough leads coming into our business. Okay, if we're generating enough leads in our business, then we're not going to focus on that one person that keeps coming back but won't give us their phone number.
So I know your visual is Tommy Boy, which is an awesome movie, Tommy Like Wingy. But I also think, too, is I think of myself being in the passenger side of the front seat, like driving a car, and I allow them to drive, and I'm just guiding or helping, or like I'm allowing them to steer, all right, and then they will slide over when they want me to take control. All right, so I think some of the new definitions that Jack gave all of us make sense here, and I think there's some questions, some Q&A that we'll take here in a little bit. One of the things Jack had also mentioned is how do you communicate with each phase? Again, when they're in that phase one, all right, the early stages of gathering and collecting information, Jack had mentioned, they can get this information at in a variety of locations. Just make sure you allow them to get that information from your website, and then you're okay. And as Jack had mentioned, in phase two is when they become a little bit more active, and that's when you can take some of those consumer triggers and give them information that they wouldn't otherwise get anywhere else. All right, so one of the questions that we had here, Joe, is one of the issues that he ran across last week is someone was asking him questions regarding a home they were interested in, and I believe they thought I was the listing agent. Once I informed them that I was not, the communication stopped. Any thoughts? Well, first of all, I think you got to start the process all over again and just thank them for utilizing you, all right, to get information and to utilize links to get them back to your site. So one is I think you got to start over. Two is if someone asks me, am I the listing agent? All right, I would say, I would if it depends on if it was verbal or nonverbal, I wouldn't answer the question initially. All right, I would ask, are you looking to communicate with the listing agent? Are you looking for a buyer's agent? That type of thing. Okay.
Donna actually has a great question. I know more people have this question too. Is what would you send a buyer that says he will use me as the agent, but is not going to take action for 6 months or so? And then she adds in, a lot can happen in that 6 months. Don't want him to run into someone else. He's a six-figure buyer. Well, Donna, first of all, take a deep breath. Okay? He's using your site. He's already told you that you're going to be the agent of choice. The only way you can screw this up, Donna, okay, is if you don't continue to get him back to your site. If you just say, well, he's already chosen me, so he can go wherever, he'll call me, then yes, you're absolutely right, he will meet someone else. It doesn't matter if he's a six-figure buyer or he's buying a $20,000 house, right? Regardless of price range, that's where we can screw things up. It's like the more that we want to control the consumer, the more we will lose consumers. He's already told you that he's 6 months out, he's going to use you. The only way, Donna, you can screw this up is if you say, okay, well, I can move on. He can just search wherever, he'll call me. You still have to make sure that, yes, he's going to use you, but make sure you're providing content to him, right? Influence him down that timeline with content that's relevant to what he's looking for, and promise you, he won't meet anybody else.
So, Donna, here's the scary thing, too, is if you pounce on him, okay, him or her, and try to accelerate their timeline, you will lose them. Okay, and if you do nothing and not get them back, make sure that he or she's back on your site consistently, probably weekly or monthly, you'll lose them as well. Just make sure once a month they're on Market Insider, and then at least daily or weekly they're receiving listing alerts. So they are driven back to your site. The other thing, too, is keep him or her up to date with similar homes that have sold, all right, and what inventory looks like in that particular area. All right, but you're doing that via email. I wouldn't necessarily do it versus phone. The thing, too, is Jack had mentioned, is the fact that according to NAR, 44% of all transactions are the result of a referral. So just because this person says they're going to use you, you still have to provide him or her content that's relevant. They're in that probably phase 2 stage. All right, so getting them even more information about market conditions or inventory trends is important as well.
So getting a lot of questions, what is relevant content? So I actually skipped a couple screens to put this up because I think everybody needs to see this. And then Nancy, yes, we do have emails for why to use a buyer's agent. If you download that notebook, I actually wrote specifically 2 emails to get you. Your goal when you have a new lead, number 1, again, is stop their search. Number 2 is you want to meet face-to-face to do a buyer's consult, right? So I wrote an email to help you with that. But let's everyone look at the screen right now. There's 10 consumer behavior triggers. I'd love to tell you that, we wrote a script or a structure, that 7-day plan of attack, right? That is to stop their search and get them back on your website. I'd love to tell you that I have a script for you that will walk people down the timeline. The truth is, you can't do that because every consumer is different. What you need to do as an agent is pay attention to these 10 consumer behavior triggers. This is learning digital body language. This will tell you what your next call of action is. So what is relevant content? I mean, I get that a lot. right? We got those questions. What is relevant content? What is, which items of value do you suggest? Guys, pay attention to these 10 triggers. This is relevant content. This is the value. If they view a home, which homes are they viewing? Did they save one? Did they set up a listing alert, or maybe they refined one? Did all of a sudden their neighborhood change, or maybe they're looking at a new zip code? Did they start looking at short sales, foreclosures? Right? Were they on your Market Insider? How many different zip codes did they look at? What reports did they look at on there? And maybe they updated their phone number. Pay attention to these behavior triggers, because this is where you decide what relevant content is. For instance, and again, I use that example. If someone's on your website and they come back over and over and over, and now they've looked at this one house 3, 4 times, or maybe they've saved a house, you tell me what do you think relevant content is? If it's me, okay, and I'm looking at behavior triggers and I know they've been coming back, so number one, I accomplished my goal. I stopped their search, right? So I'm confident they're not going to meet another agent because I stopped their search. They're using my website. I can see that. So my confidence has to be increased now with this client. Again, the only way I can screw this up is if I just leave them alone, right? And so I want to provide a service that they're getting the best relevant content they can't get without me. Yes, consumers can get a ton of stuff online, right? But what can't they get? Okay, this is where I'd probably reach out to the listing agent. Hey, what details can you give me on this home? I'd scour the MLS. What information can I pull up that a consumer can't get? Keep in mind, consumers don't have access to the MLS. There's a lot of information that we have on listings on the market that consumers don't know or don't see. That's why there's a need for a real estate agent. So you need to think outside the box. What can the consumer get with me, or what can the consumer get without me, and then what can I provide that the consumer can't get without me? If a consumer's looked at a house 3 times and saved a house, I'm probably going to do a drive-by of that house, take additional photos that aren't in the MLS, do a small video from outside on the street view, right? Maybe point out one of the two to three best features of that home, whether it's a big yard, nice kitchen, upgraded this, upgraded that, right? Provide content that they can't get. What you're trying to do is you're trying to establish yourself as you're more than a real estate agent. You're a neighborhood expert. This is why they want to meet with you. Okay, so we got to think outside the box. So what is relevant content? It's based on this, these behavior triggers. That's why we really have to understand when someone comes to the website, we don't just automatically send something. We really need to pay attention and look. That's why we should be logging in multiple times during the day to see what's happening on our website, right? It's like owning a store. When people walk into the store, watching where they go, knowing what they're interested in, it's going to help you be a better business owner. No different here.
Here's a good thing by Rob. Rob in Sunny Phoenix. For a long-term buyer, he's created a campaign using Market Leader Insider tips. For example, understanding FHA loans or steps in the mortgage loan process, decoding mortgage terms, and then tips a buyer can use in regards to like information buyers can use. He puts the buyer lead on this campaign while they're in that just looking stage. So pretty good stuff right there. There was a question that someone had here. You know, some of the stats or some of the Q&A that we're getting here, Jack, is what if they saved a home but they've opted out of my campaigns? What do I do on that? I think one of the things to think of is why are we putting them on some sort of a drip campaign to begin with?
It doesn't mean you can't send them emails. You can send them one-off emails. What they're telling you is, don't put me on automatic emails. That's what they're telling you. So if you want to commute, this is why we wrote the content. So if you haven't downloaded the notebook, I suggest you do that. There's a ton of quick text emails that all of you need to add to your database. And these are, like, again, some of the homework, and I'll, again, fast forward because I like to do that, but some of the homework is you need to pick 10 people a day, 10 consumers a day that are inactive that you're going to re-engage. Now, the normal agent that's not on $1 Million Pipeline, let me tell you what they would do. They're going to pick 10 people, and they're going to put them on an automatic campaign because it's easy and it would take 5 minutes. Okay, that's what you're not going to do. Okay? $1 Million Pipeline is not about the easiest thing. It's about rolling up your sleeves, going to work, but maximizing your results. What you need to do, and why I limit it to 10 people a day, is because you're going to specifically pick those 10 people, and you're going to go individually into the system and see what did they do, what are the 2 or 3 behavior triggers that I can identify, and then what single email can I send out to them that is personalized to get them back on my website and re-engaged. Okay? Now, you pick 10 people a day. I'm going to tell you it's probably going to take you an hour to 2 hours to re-engage 10 people a day. Okay? When you do 10 people a day, your hopes is that you're getting 2 to 3 people to respond or come back to your website. That's the number side of this business, right? But it's going to take you 1 to 2 hours. It's not something we just throw people on a campaign, okay? Because that's the fastest way to get them to disengage from emails. Okay, now listing alerts, most of the consumers sign up for their own listing alerts. But in the 7-day plan of attack, part of that strategy is to get them back with listing alerts. To be honest with you, over 86% of consumers want listing alerts. That's why they sign up on your website. Okay, so if you have a consumer that says no to emails, okay, then there's probably too many automated emails going out, and you probably need this content in the notebook, and you need to upload those to your system, and you need to do more personalized emails.
Jackie, you're so right here, because like I bet 90% of our questions that I'm handling on chat right now, it's all because they are experiencing a high volume of leads saying unsubscribe, or they only focus on the ones that say unsubscribe. All right, so one of the things, you are going to get people who just say, hey, don't contact me anymore, and that's okay because you got enough leads in your pipeline. Okay, just think if you are an owner of a store and you got hundreds of people in your store, all right, at a certain time, you don't care if one walks out, right? Because you have 99 other people to work with. Same thing with this. Remember, you got to focus on all of the people within your pipeline, not just on one. However, I am just not a big fan of putting someone on a blanketed drip campaign. Because remember, Jack had mentioned all the time, it is all about content that's relevant. Well, content that isn't relevant isn't like a soup recipe. Or that, you know, hey, it's June. It's exciting, right? No. Just make sure that they're receiving content in regard to listings and market reports, just ideas to get them back to your website as well, especially baby boomers, right? If you want to, like, these are people that are embracing technology, but they don't want to be overwhelmed with technology. They don't want to log into their email and see just spam everywhere because they're getting all that information from you. Just keep it simple.
Yeah, it is. Guys, we can't, and this is the bad thing, is because I honestly think 5 to 10 years ago it was all about automation. Why? Because this industry, let's say 10 years ago, was very, very different than it is today. I mean, let's be honest. 10 years ago, when the market was at the high, we were order taking. It was all about automation because we had so many people reaching out to us that you'd throw people on campaign. It was like order taking. Today it's not that same way. The industry has changed. Why? The consumer has changed. And so we have to adapt. You're going to work harder today with each consumer than you did 10, 15 years ago. And so today it's not about automated campaigns. It's fine when you know, for like, I think it was Susan who had someone that said they're 6 months out. Okay, automated campaigns probably fine. To stay in touch, past clients, fine. Referrals, right? Sphere of influence, great. But when you have a lead and that you physically have not met in person, and you're doing a virtual handshake online, which is how all of you are meeting leads today, you can't put them on a campaign yet. You just can't. It has to be personalized. It has to be per relevant content, and that consumer will define relevant content. And you really need to work and see what those triggers are and how can you provide relevant content. It's a little bit different. This is why we talk so much about the different demographics. It's also why it's important to use your lead status, which we have on the screen now. Okay? Because if you're going to pick 10 people a day that I said is inactive, if you don't have them status the right way, then how are you ever going to bring up the people that aren't on your website? This is really, really important. During that 7-day plan of attack, using retry, it keeps your business organized. It lets you know where they are in their timeline or where they are in your funnel.
All right, so my impromptu poll question. So everyone, I want you to chat in. What do you want, what would you rather have? Someone open up your email or someone be on your website every day or every week? What would you guys rather have? Someone that opened up your email or someone that was on your website every day or every week? Okay?
Well, thank God they're all saying website, because I was about to throw the headset and leave.
Well, someone said, actually no, someone said open email, and someone said both. All right, now no more chatting. Stop, stop, stop. Thank you. Now I want you to understand this. Your number one concern is to get them on the site. Now let me tell you this. I don't care if they opened up the email. I literally don't care. One thing to think about, and this is jokingly, how the heck did they get to your website if they didn't open up your email? Right. They opened up your email, clicked on the picture. That's how the heck they got on your website. There is a ton of technology, right, and protection out there that just doesn't allow us to have insight when someone really opened up an email or didn't open up an email. I might open up your email right now and you have no idea, but I'm on your website. And that's the whole key. So don't stress or think about, did they open it, did they not open it?
Yeah, the spam laws that have been created over the last 4 years and then refined and refined and refined, it is all for consumer protection. There's a lot of emails, email servers that will not allow you to see whether or not a consumer opened an email. There's also a lot of servers that no matter what you do, when you email from a business email, it'll automatically go into spam. Now, we have a ticket in right now that we're trying to kind of enhance Yahoo Mail. So if you have consumers that are using Yahoo email, we're trying to enhance that to where more emails go through. But it's tough. I mean, those consumer spam laws are strict and they're tough. Okay, and you're going to have consumers that might get your email and might have looked at it in the preview and clicked it and went to your website, and it's still going to show that they never opened your email. But like Kerm's right. At the end of the day, what do you want? Do you want people in your store, or do you want them just knowing that they open emails, you're okay with that? They got to be in your store if you want to do business with them. Okay? Opening an email is great. Like, that's great. But does everybody understand that's what's not important? It's awesome. We love it because it gives us some type of relief that people are real. But that doesn't provide relevant content. What happens, okay, or what provides relevant content is what the heck did they do after they opened the email? Because that's the most important thing, right? That's the most important behavior that we need in order to communicate the right way, is what did they do after they opened my email? What did they look at? What did they do? What was their behavior? And that's where we actually plug into that timeline.
All right, so here's a good question that we actually took a couple of weeks ago and asked the coach, but from Joan. How the heck do you handle a lead who set up alert but said they have an agent? Well, they indicated they checked the box that they have an agent. So there's two factors here in play. Either one, they do have an agent, or two, all right, they don't have an agent, but they check the box because they don't want you pouncing on them. Okay? They're really raising their wall, and they're sitting behind that wall, and they don't want you to knock it down. Okay? So relax a little bit. There's a couple of things. I would let them continue to utilize your site, go through the exact same process. All right? Also, we have emails and scripts that for this exact, let me put words together here, hold on, for this exact scenario. All right, so part of this is, hey, thanks for utilizing my site. I noticed that you currently have a real estate agent. You know, often I provide, consumers with the #1 service or blah, blah, blah. There's an email in milliondollarpipeline.com for this exact scenario. Okay, so take a look at that as well. Okay. A lot of people are asking questions, where can I find these? It's all on milliondollarpipeline.com.
All right, so this is, I also put this slide in here, is understanding consumer roadblocks, because you will have people that are on your website, and they're not calling you. You don't have their phone number. Maybe they're not returning your emails. Okay? One, understand where they are on the timeline. Two, understand certain roadblocks that people have. Okay, there's 4 top roadblocks for consumers: time, money, motivation, or self-esteem. Right, and I think I think we have to understand the importance of really knowing these 4 roadblocks. So if, like time, right? What prompts to get consumers moving when it's time? What what made you call about the property today, or what made you inquire about that property, right? So asking certain questions in your email. If you read some of the email content that we wrote, you'll notice that it asks these questions to get the consumer to buy in a little bit. And it allows you to identify, is it time? Is it money? Is it motivation? Because that next one, that money, is the oldest objection, right? There's always a chance a consumer will balk. It's their largest purchase. It's the biggest investment a consumer will ever make. It's scary, especially if you're talking to a first-time home buyer or even the baby boomer. You have someone that probably had a home, probably lived in the home, I don't know, 7, 10 years, and now they're looking to downsize. That's a scary movement for a baby boomer. And the same thing with Gen X. You have someone that was a first-time home buyer and going up. That's scary. And so money is a roadblock, and it's something they have to think about. And that next one is motivation. Are they motivated? Are they in pre-research phase where they're browsing right now? We'd love it to have everybody that we get in contact with is motivated to move right now. But maybe they're not. Maybe they're not motivated right now. Maybe they're in the browsing. Okay, so understanding what questions can you ask. Again, these emails are specifically designed for you to get response from consumers and help influence them down the timeline. And I think self-esteem is a big one today, especially with all the different requirements from lenders. A lot of people don't understand, number one, the pre-approval process. Number two, they might say, well, I can't do that. My credit's not good enough for this or that. And the other, I don't have enough down payment. So there's a self-esteem. And we just assume that they get it because this is our job. But our job is to walk them through that, and some of the emails in here are specifically designed to trigger some of these roadblocks so you can handle those, right? You guys don't see these four as roadblocks. The consumer does. We're very good at what we do. You just need to understand which one the consumer is so you can then speak to it, right? And so these emails in here are designed to trigger those.
Also, their behavior, be a detective. Like when they're on your site and maybe they're on it for 2 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or their frequency, you can kind of make some assumptions. Is it self-esteem? Do you think it's money or equity? Is it from a timing standpoint? You know, it's a seasonal thing as well. We know, 60% of all real estate transactions are going to occur over the next 4 to 5 months. Right, that means all the people that are within our pipeline, and this is part of your homework, is to identify 10 people within your pipeline every day to send them a specific email, one that we created here, that Jack created, that's on the workshop number 9 notes, right? Because it's one of those four, either self-esteem, overall motivation, or timing, or money as well. Think about all those leads that you thought were bad leads from a year ago or 2 years ago or 3 years ago. This is why Jack had said your homework today and every day this month should be to identify 10 new people, all right, and figure out what email in the quick text that we're about to show you matches up to probably their motivation. So there's about 8 different subjects, or excuse me, there's about 8 different categories of emails that Jack wrote. Okay? And what we're going to want to do is you're going to copy-paste all of these today, right when we get off the phone, into your quick text box in your system. So here are some of the categories: meet in person, show a home, new listings, finance or market trends, relevant information, relocation, or general type of email scripts because they're early in the process. So as I get this together, Jack, these are the categories that you created. Now, as you had mentioned, you know, someone who's just not that motivated won't do this, but our $1 Million Pipeline Program members are definitely going to put this in their quick text.
Yeah, I mean, these are specifically, again, this is part of the strategy of this program is, 1, to help you generate enough leads, 2, to give you the right technology and know-how to move people through the timeline. These emails, some of them are very short, some of them are a little bit longer, none of them are super long because, again, consumers have an 8 to 10 second attention span. The job, these are called quick text for a reason, and it's to get the consumer to influence them to either reach out to you or move through that timeline. Tim has a good point. He loves our slides. So Tim, he said, is there a way to get the slides on a PDF so I can refer back to those along with the notes? I will make sure that in Kerm and Jack's corner by the end of the day, we'll have some of these slides on there for everyone. So not only do you have the notebook, but in Kerm and Jack's Corner, we'll have some of the slides so everyone can refer back to those 4 roadblocks. I think that's huge for us to understand those roadblocks.
All right, so real quick, for all those agents who have not ever downloaded our notes or they don't know where it's located, listen up, okay? You go to milliondollarpipeline.com, you log in, your username and password, and then, for example, today is workshop number 9, so you click Influencing Consumers Buying and Selling Timeline. And when you do that, here will be the recording. And then right here, you'll see the Download Workshop Notebook. Then you'll click this, and now these are all of the emails. So these categories meet in person. So subject lines such as complimentary consultation to answer your questions, just checking in, let's talk, you know, for different categories such as new listings or show a home or see the home. I love these, Jack. I will look at this as sarcasm from one question is, why didn't you load these quick texts in for us? There's a lot of reasons for that. So let's go.
It's the same reason why I'm not going to drive out and show the homes for them too, though. Right? It shows motivation if you're going to load these yourself. Right? And I need people to be motivated to go and implement this. And not everybody's going to want every single email out here. This is part of the program. No one else, if you're not in $1 Million Pipeline, okay, if market leader customers that are on $1 Million Pipeline aren't getting this content. So this content is very exclusive to $1 Million Pipeline. If you want the content, you got to download it, right? This is about rolling up your sleeves and going to work. Yeah, it'd be, in a perfect world, people would do this for us, right? But this is part of us, right, impacting our business to the next level.
All right, so let's go to the fun part. How the heck do I upload them? So you're going to log into your system. Hopefully you do this several times every day, and you're going to go to the admin part, and then drop-down menu under admin, you'll hit email, and then under email, all right, you can go email quick text. So you're going to choose that. And now here, as you can see with Leslie, Leslie probably has 30 different emails that she did herself. She's extremely motivated, all right, for all of her prospects. Now, if you want to do a new one, you choose Create New, your title, and it's as simple as copy and pasting if we wanted to. Okay, so this would be copies. For example, if I want to say finance or market trends, I would just go here, right back. Now I get to copy paste, but also look at this. Okay, you can also see, for example, you're going to have to edit a little bit, and you can also, what I would do is make sure that you understand these areas here. You get to customize. You're never just going to be able to blanket send an email under quick text. You should customize it. All right, and make it personal based on the insight that you have. Now, as simple as this is, now I would hit save, okay, and now this would be part of my in quick text. So you got probably 30 of them, and you also can create some of these as well. So notice a couple things here. You could try this. I like putting the first name in under the title, so you could put somebody's first name in there. I think every email has to have a link back to your website. And also thank them for using your site as well. Okay, give them a quick nugget.
Kristen, she's asking, when you do the link, do you leave the brackets? Take the brackets out. So you'd highlight. So what you do is you would go to, let's say, Market Insider. This was insert link to neighborhood comparison. So you're going to go to Market Insider. You're going to take 2 zip codes, compare them. You're going to take that URL, right? So Kerm's showing us right now. You're going to take that URL and you're going to paste it right where those brackets are. Okay, that's your live link. And he's walking us through this now. Okay, so every single email, okay, you are going to have to customize. You are going to understand that every single email, you are going to put some links in there because that's how you're driving people back. But these are templates. I wrote these as templates to save in your system. There's probably, I don't even know how many there are, probably, I don't know, 25, 30 of them. But they're all designed for you to save into your system and use. And I would make them into categories, right? And I would have the subject lines on there so you know that every time someone does this, I'm going to do this. Okay, and this is how, so you have now the 7-day plan of attack structure from $1 Million Pipeline, and now I think the biggest question is after a 7-day plan of attack, what the heck do I do? How do I move them? These quick texts are a way for you to move them closer to that phase 3. Everybody knows what to do in phase 3. That's why we're in real estate. That's why we're good. Now we're providing you a little bit more content and a little bit more structure to understand how do I get people out of that phase 2 into phase 3.
All right, did you guys see how I just copy-pasted this? So this was to the Market Insider link. But if you also, like, for example, the About page, all right, you can copy-paste this. You could put this in some of your emails to learn more about me or to learn or to see some of my content that I have. Like, for example, Leslie writes and does some things in some blogging. You could do that. Or you could also, if you've done all your neighborhoods, like here's Laguna Niguel. So here's today's market trends specific for Laguna Niguel. These are great opportunities for you to copy paste, all right, and put that in an email, right? So maybe you have an email for each one of your neighborhoods, okay, in your local community that you can send to them as well. Okay, does that make sense, everyone?
Yes, you can use HTML code. So if you don't want to, like right now, Kerm has the long link, right? Some of you think, oh, that's ugly, consumers won't like that. I don't think consumers care one way or another, but you can test it. If you'd rather use an HTML code that says click here for the stats or click here to compare these two zip codes or whatever you want to write, you can do that. Okay, HTML code is very easy. You could go on YouTube and figure out how to write HTML code just for that. It's very, very easy. So you decide what you'd want to do there.
Jack, the other good thing too is once you, one of the questions is, do I have access to this on my mobile? You bet. All right, so let me go back. When you log into your system on your phone, okay, all you have to do is slide down once, choose the go-to mobile version, and then moving forward every day, hopefully several times a day, all right, you will actually, on your phone, you'll see this all on your mobile device, okay? And you have quick text on your phone as well, okay? By the way, this is how you can customize your welcome email as well. Take a look at all of her quick text that she does. That means no matter where she's at on the road, okay, especially imagine, every day now you get that email as to recent activity on your website. All right, this is when you can utilize the quick text as well. And again, if you do not know where to go, all right, go to milliondollarpipeline.com. All the class notes and the recordings are here, but you would hit workshop number 9. And then under download workshop notebook, and you have that, okay? Does everyone see how to do the quick text? So then if you go to your dashboard and under recent activities, like take a look at Leslie, 44 new leads in the last 30 days. And she's had 22 people on her website in the last 24 hours. So you can choose one of these like Charles Smith, go right to send email. Okay, here's your quick text right here. And now you have all of your emails that you specifically wrote.
One of the questions is when the lead stream site or the leads come in from like a Trulia or a Zillow, it says that this person's looking to sell their home, but there's no information. That information is located in webmail. So you have two options. You have your inbox, and then you have webmail. All that content carried over from Trulia or Zillow is going to be located in webmail. The other question is the ICW. So there's a reason why I'm not a big fan of the ICW. It's clunky. I don't like it. This is why I came up with the 7-day plan of attack. But this is also why it's very, very important that you use your status the right way. So if you keep a lead as a new lead, then guess what? The ICW is going to consider that a new lead, and it's going to do what it wants to do. This is a reason why you put that on retry. Once you do retry, okay, once you implement the 7-day plan of attack and you put that on retry, the ICW reads that as, oh, you already did this, I go away. And so it's important to use those status. Another thing, so that we have the seller lead conversion plan, the 10 days of paying content is going to go away, but I just got done writing the buyer's lead conversion plan, which is very, very similar, except I think the content's a little bit better and updated. It also includes activities in the 7-day plan of attack. And what this did, the reason why I put it into a campaign is because now it'll automatically set reminders for you. So be looking for that. It should launch by the end of the month. And the 10 days of pain will go away, but it will be replaced with the buyer's lead conversion plan, which will include the 7-day plan of attack with a series of emails just like the 10 days of pain. The good news is you won't have to set your own reminders now. It'll do it for you because it's going to be a campaign. So that's good stuff. Okay. What other questions do we have? Oh, Kern put up the status. These are the status: retry, active, inactive, hot, sold, trash. Okay, retry, we all know retry is in that first 7 days, right? Because you're retrying to get that person engaged on your website. Two things can happen during this phase. Number one, they come back to your site and they gather more content, and you figure out what relevant content is. You're looking for behavior triggers. That lead becomes an active lead because they're actively on your website. And then in the 7-day period, they don't come back to your website. That's an inactive lead, okay, because you couldn't get them back. If someone comes back to your site and starts to engage with you, whether it is via email, whether it is via phone, if engagement starts where there's questions and there's engagement back and forth, that becomes a hot lead. Obviously sold, no explanation on that. Trash, this is where all of our leads that we cannot contact or work go. Just because someone said, please take me off your email, we don't trash them. Okay? The only leads that should be in trash are emails we can't physically work. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay?
A couple questions I have here. Where's the 7-day plan of attack? This is from Henry. Henry, you can find all of your 7-day plan of attack information on milliondollarpipeline.com under the class notes. Okay, we have a 7-day plan of attack for buyers. We have a 7-day plan of attack for sellers. Okay, that's one good question there.
Lisa says, what do we do with the inactives? Go to the homework page, Kern, real quick. So this is what you do with inactives. And part of your homework is pick 10 inactive consumers. So whatever you want to do, last 60 days, 90 days, 30 days, whatever. Pick 10 a day, 10 inactive consumers a day, and re-engage them. Go back in, look at their summary, look at their behavior, look for behavior triggers. Where can I engage them? You're going to pick 10 a day. Now, if you're not statusing your leads as inactive, it's going to be very, very hard for you to do this. Okay, but it's very easy. If I go to contacts and I sort by inactive, it'll pull up every single consumer I've ever put on inactive. Now, when I re-engage them, what do? The first time I send that email to re-engage them, I need to put them back on retry. Because I'm retrying to get them re-engaged, right? And again, two things happen. They either go to active or inactive. Okay, so using status is a huge part of your business because it's going to keep you and your system organized. Okay, the other question is, why don't we delete leads? Why do we keep leads that we can't work? Because you don't want to change the analytics of your back-end system. So we have a class coming up that's all about analytics. You have very, very pinpointed analytics that can drive your business. And if you're deleting a bunch of leads, then how are you going to know what's working and what's not working as far as traffic on your website? Okay, this is part of understanding your business. So don't delete leads. Throw them in the trash folder and forget about them.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of not putting anything in trash. Just this Kern talk. I don't put anyone in trash unless they have contact information that isn't working for me. I just move them all to inactive because often throughout the year, I'm a big believer is I want to, even if they haven't been on my site, like every 3 months or every 6 months, I'll send an email, again, thanking them for being a resident of the community, and by the way, here's some up-to-date real estate information, or maybe home prices are up 6%, or inventory is very limited, so if you know of people that are curious about the value of their home and maybe are interested in selling it, this is a great time of year to think about it. So I just don't put anyone on trash. I mark them as inactive.
All right, so if you see the homework, there's a lot of stuff for you to do this week, and I urge everybody to actually be proactive and implement some of this. So number one is if you haven't done this, download the notebook now, print it off, okay, or save it to your desktop, because the next homework piece is build and save quick text emails from the templates. So Kern showed you how to do it. It's copy, paste, save. Right? But you need to have these templates in there, and then pick 10 active consumers per day to re-engage. If you haven't joined the Facebook page, I urge you to do that, because that's where all the members share best practices. Okay, and it's awesome. I love reading some of the things that people are doing to get results. It is very, very cool. They said, I tweaked this email and it got someone to respond. That's exactly why we do that. Okay, and Kerm's screwing up the whole entire deck here.
Yeah, but they don't see that right now. Can you go to a back-end system, Jack? Because I want to show people how to sort by their inactive. So if we can go to Leslie's. Okay. And so one of the things you can do, can you just make sure that I'm on screen? We're not on screen. Yep, now we are. Okay, so if you go back into your system, this is how you can sort, and it's like Leslie's done a great job of utilizing all of her statuses: new, retry, active, inactive, trash, sold. So for example, let's take all of our inactive leads, and let's just say we want to go from all of our inactive leads from January 1st.
Hello, this is Tom. Yes. Yes. It is, yes. Yeah, unfortunately this week the tenant is moving out and they've asked for no showings. Correct. The tenant is, yes. So hopefully by the weekend I'll have a lockbox on it and you can go anytime. Okay. Okay, thank you. Bye now.
Bucketing what status they are in. Okay? So one of the questions I had earlier was, does the ICW work when you're using your system via mobile? Yes. The ICW comes into play if you haven't changed a status within 12 hours. And now the reason why Jack's a big fan of preempting the ICW is because now he can respond first and immediately. So when you get pinged that you have a new lead, immediately one of your quick text emails should be a personalized welcome email. Hey, thanks for registering on my site, right? Or thanks for utilizing my site to gather and collect real estate information. I'm currently on the road. You have free or full access to all of the listings that are currently on the market. When I return, I'll send you a couple more listings that are my favorite that you might be might pique your interest.
And at the source field, that's where your leads are coming from. So if it says Google or other ad campaigns, that's the lead you're paying for, your market leader. If you're driving your own lead there, it's probably going to come in as SEO, search engine optimization, but the source field is where your leads are coming in. So here's the other thing I want to say, that when this webinar closes, we do have a survey this time. It's the $1 Million Pipeline Survey. I think there's 6 or 8 questions. It's important that everybody takes that survey because it's going to help. It's going to help us. We're already planning season 5. Okay, so when this season closes, season 4, season 5 will kick off in August. And I promise you, we're making big things happen in season 5. More content, better content, newer content. But we really want to start getting surveys and starting putting some ideas together. So we need everybody to actually take the survey today. So if you can do that, that would really help us out as well.
So let me clarify a couple of things. Jack and I aren't fans. I mean, the ICW is there. So in case, for some reason, I can't respond to a lead within 12 hours. That's why the ICW is there. It's your backstop, just in case you didn't respond quick enough. Right? So if you choose to be slow, the ICW is perfect. I choose to respond within minutes every time I get a lead. Okay? Does that make sense? So immediately when I get a lead, I'm going to move it into the retry bucket, and I'm going to begin my 7-day plan of attack. If that lead doesn't come back to my website within 7 days, then I will put them on the 10 days of pain campaign or a seller lead conversion campaign, or soon to be our buyer lead conversion campaign. Does that make sense? The ICW is there to protect you. right? But do this. I just choose to respond to my leads quickly. Okay? All right, let's take a look at if there's any other additional questions.
Yeah, you can't shut off the ITW. Okay? But if you run the system, if you run your system how Herm and I teach you, the $1 Million Pipeline way, the ITW will be a non-factor because it'll never come into play. Right? It is designed, like Herm said, it's designed as a fail-safe because if you miss the lead, right? How important is it to respond first and flow over content? That's what the ITW is designed for. However, I would rather control that, right? I'd rather control my content and my consumers and my leads. Okay? If you run your system the way we teach you in the $1 Million Pipeline, the ITW is a non-issue. So don't get hung up on the ITW.
Okay, so that's it. There's a lot of questions coming in, but we want everyone to take the survey. And as always, if you have questions, where's your access? Who's your audience? You go to the Facebook group page, $1MillionPipeline.com. Excuse me. You go to the Facebook group page, $1 Million Pipeline, and post your questions there. Post those questions so we can answer them. So post those questions so the entire audience that is similar to yours, okay, that are members of the $1 Million Pipeline program, they'll respond as well. So session 9, that recording will be up here shortly. Session 10, which is next week, is part of our advanced part of the $1 Million Pipeline program. We're going to go over industry trends. And then as Jack had mentioned, your homework is download workshop number 9, the notebook, and begin building and saving your quick text emails from the template. And then I'm going to give you more homework. If you're not using the mobile device, right, on your iPhone or your Android, use it. Start it today, all right? So no matter where you're at, you have access to your system. And then pick 10 inactive consumers per day to re-engage. Do this every day for the rest of the month. Okay, and if you're not utilizing the MPTP Facebook group page, all right, that's how you can get to it, facebook.com/groups/$1 Million Pipeline. All right, and then Jack over the next couple of days will accept you in there as well. And then the survey, as Jack had mentioned, we're already working on season number 5, all right, with a ton of new content and additional content. So please fill out the survey right after this call to help us build next season, which is going to start the 1st of October. Okay? Russ, are we good? All right, what do you guys think of today's class? You got a ton of emails. All right, but you got to understand consumer timeline, differences between phase 1 and phase 2, and then Jack spent a lot of time on writing email content for you guys to use as well. Okay?
Everybody, the survey will start as soon as you end the webinar. So as soon as you jump off the webinar, the survey will come up. And again, look. There's a reason why we told you at the beginning that class 1, class 2. So if you haven't listened to class 1, class 2, go back and do that. But we say, like, this is for agents that have to roll up their sleeves and go to work because this isn't easy. If you want to take your business to the next level, it's not going to be easy. We are going to teach you how to use this system the proper way. We're going to give you our strategies and our concepts. Sometimes it is creating more work, but if the results are there, right? I think we'd all take that little investment of our time, more work. That's what this program's about. So I look forward to next week. I hope everybody does the homework, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the survey results.
And if I did accidentally say the next season starts in October, it actually starts the 1st of August. But we are going to have a ton of stuff for May, June, and July as well. And one of my favorite things here is I think, where was it? Someone just had something in here. Holy cow. Where did, I just said there was a great chat question. Oh, Joe Rumsey. More good stuff, program never ends. And that's our goal, Joe, is to create new, today's consumers are always evolving, you know, technology is always evolving, ideas are always evolving. One of the great things about you partnering with Market Leader and partnering with $1 Million Pipeline is in that program is that we're going to keep you ahead. You got to go do the work, but we're going to keep you ahead and put you in a position to be successful. Okay, that's exactly why we do this show, so thank you for doing that. But it comes down to you, it comes down to every member to actually implement and do the work as well. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great day, have a great week, and let's go make an impact, all right? Big 10 in